It's 9 p.m. There's a knock at your door. You look through the peephole. It's the police. Your mind races. Did I do something wrong? Should I open it? What if I don't? Most people make one of 5 critical mistakes in the next 60 seconds, and those mistakes can give law enforcement legal access to your home, your privacy, and potentially your freedom. I'm Attorney Atlas, and today I'm breaking down the 5 most common errors people make when police knock on their door, and exactly what you should do instead. Let's get into it. First, let's be crystal clear about something. Your home is your castle. The Fourth Amendment to the U.S. Constitution protects you from unreasonable searches and seizures. That means police generally cannot enter your home without one of the following: a valid search warrant, a valid arrest warrant for someone inside exigent circumstances, emergency situations, your consent. That last one? Your consent. That's where most people lose their rights without even realizing it. Because here's the truth. Police are trained to be persuasive. They're allowed to knock. They're allowed to ask questions. And yes, they're allowed to ask for permission to come inside, but you are not required to say yes. Now let's talk about the 5 mistakes that turn a simple door knock into a legal entry, and how to avoid them. Mistake number 1. You open the door all the way and step outside. Here's what happens. You hear the knock. You open the door wide. Maybe you even step out onto your porch or driveway to talk. You think you're being cooperative. You think it looks less suspicious. But here's what you just did legally. You left the protected space of your home. Once you step outside, you're in a public or semi-public area. Officers can now interact with you without a warrant. They can detain you. They can pat you down if they have reasonable suspicion. And anything they see, smell, or hear, even through your open door, can now be used as probable cause. Let me give you an example. You step outside to talk. The door is open behind you. An officer smells marijuana, or sees a bag on your couch, or hears someone yelling inside. That's now grounds for entry. What you should do instead, if you choose to engage, speak through the door or open it only a crack with a chain lock. Stay inside your home. You are not required to step outside. Politely say, "I'd prefer to speak with you through the door. How can I help you?" Calm, professional, protected. Mistake number 2, you start answering questions before asking why they're there. Police knock. You open the door. They immediately start asking, "Do you live here? Is anyone else home? Have you been drinking tonight? Can we come in and talk?" And because you want to seem cooperative, you answer. Stop. You do not know why they are at your door yet. You don't know if they're investigating you, someone else, or just following up on a neighbor's complaint. Every answer you give can be used against you, even innocent answers. Example, officer says, "Is anyone else home?" You say, "Yeah, my roommate's inside." Now they know there's another person. If they're looking for that person, or if they claim they heard something that sounds like distress, they may argue exigent circumstances to enter. What you should do instead, before you answer anything, ask, "Officer, why are you here? Am I being accused of something? Do you have a warrant?" You have the right to know. If they have a warrant, they are required to show it to you. If they don't, you are not obligated to answer their questions. Mistake number 3, you give consent to enter. This is the big one. An officer says, "Mind if we come inside and talk? Can we step in for just a minute? It's cold out here. Let's talk inside." It sounds casual. It sounds reasonable. So you say, "Sure." You just waived your Fourth Amendment rights. Once you give consent, police can enter. They can look around in plain view. Anything they see, drugs, weapons, evidence of a crime, even something unrelated to why they came, is fair game. And here's the kicker. You can't take it back easily. Courts have ruled that once you give consent, anything discovered is admissible, even if you later regret letting them in. What you should do instead, you have every right to say, "I do not consent to any searches. I'm not comfortable with you coming inside. If you don't have a warrant, I'd like to end this conversation." This is not rude. This is not suspicious. This is your constitutional right. If they have a legitimate reason to enter, they'll tell you. If they don't, they'll leave. Mistake number 4. You think refusing makes you look guilty. Let's address the psychology here. You're worried that if you don't cooperate, the officer will think you're hiding something. You think saying no makes you look suspicious. This is exactly what they're counting on. Law enforcement officers are allowed to use persuasion. They can say things like, "If you have nothing to hide, why won't you let us in? We just need to clear something up real quick." This will go a lot easier if you cooperate. Here's the truth. Asserting your rights is not evidence of guilt. The U.S. Supreme Court has repeatedly held that invoking your constitutional rights cannot be used against you. Refusing a search, refusing to answer questions, refusing entry, none of that is illegal. None of that is obstruction. What you should do instead: stay calm, stay polite, and stay firm. I understand, officer, but I'm going to decline. I don't consent to any searches or entry. If you need to speak with me, I'm happy to do so with my attorney present. That's it. Mistake number 5. You keep the conversation going indefinitely. Here's a scenario. You've been talking to the officer through your door for 5, 10, even 15 minutes. They keep asking questions. You keep answering. The conversation has no end. You are allowed to end the conversation. Unless you are being detained or arrested, you are free to disengage. But most people don't realize this, so they just keep talking, hoping the officer will eventually leave. What you should do instead: politely ask, "Officer, am I being detained or am I free to go?" If they say you're not being detained, you can say, "Then I'm going to respectfully end this conversation. Have a good evening," and close the door. If they say you are being detained, then you say, "I'm invoking my right to remain silent, and I'd like to speak with an attorney." Say nothing else. This is not rude. This is not obstruction. This is you exercising your Fifth and Sixth Amendment rights. Now let's talk about the exceptions, the times when police can enter without your consent. Number 1, exigent circumstances. If there's an emergency, someone screaming for help, sounds of violence, fire, a person in medical distress, police can enter without a warrant. Number 2, hot pursuit. If they're chasing a suspect who runs into your home, they can follow. Number 3, plain view doctrine. If they're standing legally at your door, which they are when they knock, and they see evidence of a crime in plain view through an open door or window that can justify entry. Number 4, arrest warrant. If they have a warrant for your arrest or the arrest of someone they believe is inside, they can enter to execute that warrant. Number 5, search warrant. If they have a valid search warrant signed by a judge, they must be allowed to enter. You should always ask to see the warrant. Check that it has the correct address, a judge's signature, a clear description of what they're searching for. If something seems wrong, you can still comply under protest and immediately contact an attorney. Let's recap. Here's your script for when police knock on your door. Step 1, do not open the door wide. Speak through it or use a chain lock. Step 2, ask, "Why are you here? Do you have a warrant?" Step 3, if no warrant, say, "I do not consent to any searches or entry. I'm invoking my right to remain silent. If you need to speak with me, I'd like my attorney present." Step 4, ask, "Am I being detained or am I free to close the door?" Step 5, if free to go, politely end the conversation and close the door. If they have a warrant, ask to see it. Read it carefully. Comply, but say, "I do not consent to this search, but I will not physically resist." Contact your attorney immediately. Your home is your most protected space under the law, but that protection only works if you know how to use it. You don't have to be rude, you don't have to be confrontational, but you do have to be informed. Remember, knowing your rights is not a crime, asserting them is not suspicious, and staying silent is not guilt. If you found this helpful, hit that subscribe button. Drop a comment if you have questions. And remember, this is educational content, not legal advice. This content is for educational purposes only and does not constitute legal advice. Laws vary by jurisdiction. Consult a licensed attorney for advice specific to your situation. I'm Attorney Atlas. Stay informed, stay protected.